It's Q&A time. It's Q&A time. Question 6 from Victoria. What are your plans for after Blue Green? We're in the middle of step 3 and have a pretty new mortgage. Would love to see if or how you plan to tackle each of those in your future. First off, congratulations for being debt free and in the middle of building your 3 to 6 months living expenses, having a pretty new mortgage. Hey, that's also fun too, because that's a nice new place to stay. But I feel you. What are your plans for after Blue Green? Immediately to start contributing to my 401k, to my company match. I have been missing out on that money and no more. To assess my savings, to plan my debt-free celebration, to walk down the baby steps, but then to also consider adding in pieces from other plans that may make more sense for me. I'm going to reach out to my mortgage company to make sure there are no penalties in paying off the mortgage, and I would suggest you do the same once we get around to paying off that mortgage. The interest payments that we are going to save ourselves is big time. So I'm super excited for us to soon be tackling our mortgages. That's super exciting. Again, congratulations. All right, question 7 from R. Carter. All right, I get the feeling you have faith. Okay, come on now. And would love to hear that part of your relationship to money. I know that this can be touchy because so many people have been church hurt, but on my debt-free journey, although I've worked very hard to get here, I'm continually reminding myself that ultimately grace is what has to get the true credit. Greed is seductive. I'm not above feeling greedy sometimes. This is a dialogue I have to have with myself every now and then. You have such a loving demeanor and would enjoy hearing about this aspect of money. Oh, well, thank you. Anytime I've engaged with you in the comments, I feel the same way about you. So thank you for this. You know what? My faith is certainly a part of my journey, and God is a part of my everyday. So you're right. What really attracted me to Dave Ramsey is his use of the scripture. He quotes a scripture about the gazelle freeing itself from an oppression, a stronghold, like its life depended on it, freeing itself from the cheetah. That spoke to me, as well as to owe no man any debt but to love him. And honestly, when I first heard that cheetah one, I was like, show me where that's at. Because I had not heard that, but then it spoke to me to say, free yourself from this oppression, free yourself from this debt, as if your life depended on it, because God doesn't want that for you. And sometimes we just take on our own strongholds and our own things. And if any of you have been hurt in the church, I have been there myself. And it has been one of the most hurtful learning experiences that I've had. At the same time, as I've grown, I've started to gain perspective about how God wants me to see him. I'm going to try not to preach here, but roll with me, okay? People are people. You have people in the church who are people who are in the church. Now, should they know how to treat people better? Yes. Should they know what's right from wrong? Absolutely. They hear it the most, I would think. But they're people. It's like your coworkers. They should be professional. Some of them are probably more professional than you. I'm just kidding. And some of them are way less professional than you. Again, I kid. Your family, they grew up with you. They've seen you all through your life, and you would think that some of them would be loving, and they're not always loving because they're just people going through people things. We want the people who hear godly principles to be godly, and they should know better and they should do better. But it's just like some of you. You're on debt-free journeys. You can preach till you blue in the face, and some of the closest people to you aren't going to hear you. Even though they see you doing it, even though they know that's what's best for them, they're just not going to, because they have their own opinions, they have their own trials, they have their own everything. What I'm trying to say is the believers should know better and believe in who you can believe in, but don't give up on God. Don't put people in God's place. And I thank God that whenever I experienced my church hurt, that he separated himself from that. He said, that's why I didn't want you idolizing man. That's why I didn't want, because I am who I am. These people are people just like you. And I know how jacked up I can be sometimes. Okay. So that, and then also, think about Jesus Christ. Okay. Okay. Last thing. Think about Jesus Christ. He was the Messiah. People were waiting on him to come. He was going around performing miracles and bringing people together. People were flocking to him. And the people who supposedly knew the law were the ones who persecuted him. They could not see who he was when he said, this is who I am. Okay. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I believe everybody on a debt-free journey is exercising faith. Thank you, Rachel. Okay, we're down to the last few here. This next question is from Spongy Sponge. Spongy Sponge. Spongy Sponge. Spongy Sponge. Okay, what is your channel going to look like now after you have officially become debt-free D? Any ideas on what content you will be posting on your YouTube channel? Are we going to get a debt-free scream with that debt-free dance? All right, well, I have a journey to continue. My financial wealth building journey is something that is going to go on for a while, if not up to retirement, through retirement. Now, will I be a YouTuber that long? Possibly not. But I do plan on sharing as much of my wealth building journey here on out as possible. That is the plan. I want to share some now that I'm debt free type of things. So continue to watch. Don't watch me become debt free and then be like, ooh, she kind of got a little gloaty. I'm not being boastful. I'm just saying, like, now that I'm debt free, now that I took the time to do that, I have the opportunity to do these things. I mean, there's so much. I have a list of topics that I would like to explore. So I'm definitely planning on keeping up and sharing the other parts of my wealth building journey, not just debt freedom, but becoming wealthy. I'll still be tackling my mortgage debt. Some of you who are still working on becoming debt free, I want to cheer you across the finish line. All those things, I got plans. Okay. Anderson, Keisha Anderson, Keisha Anderson says, almost there. I understand finding the extra to make the payoff happen this week. How exciting. You have your dance ready? Will you go on Dave Ramsey for your debt-free scream? What's the debt-free celebration? LOL. Okay, last question. You mentioned being an analyst. What continuing education do you do? I've been a UR analyst for 2 years. Prior to that, I was a business referral coordinator for a decade. Wow. I'm looking for advice on growth into the field as being remote has some challenges for me. Thanks so much. Absolutely. Thank you. And yes, being remote is a new thing. Now, I've worked remotely for years now, but I remember when I first went to working remotely, it was a challenge. I found a way, I feel like, to become more engaged because you don't have the opportunity to be in an office with someone. It's just really to make yourself present, make yourself as present as possible without being unprofessional or seen as pushy or nosy or anything like that. So first off, let me backtrack. Will you go on Dave Ramsey for your debt-free scream? I'm not totally sure. I would say within the last couple years, having my own YouTube channel and kind of building my own community, I actually don't watch Dave as much as I used to. I do check in every once in a while to see exactly what new information he's sharing, but I actually haven't really considered going on Dave Ramsey. So I don't know. Like, I'm thinking it would really be a way to kind of put a stamp on the journey. But then at the same time, I feel like I have so much more to do. Then it was a very important part of my journey for sure. Like, not that I want to discount it, but that I'm ready to get these other things done too. So I don't know. But of course, if I decide to, you will know. What's the debt-free celebration? You'll know soon enough. I am planning for my debt-free celebration. So of course you will know when I become debt-free, but I have a celebration in mind that will require some funds that I don't yet have or have not allotted to that. So I need to build that up before really celebrating. And then about the continuing education. So a lot of my work experience come from on the job. You're right. I'm a data analyst for an insurance company. I'm always looking for ways to engage with other departments, analysts, getting information. Whenever someone provides me with data to use or to share with me, I always ask, where did you get that? I'm always inquiring about how to access the information they have access to. I want to broaden my knowledge of where things are, which also broadens opportunities in my opinion. So you just want to be a natural learner of your space and to know as much about what it is you encounter daily, weekly, monthly that you can. Make it your point to show your work and to engage. Anything you learn, share it with others, especially your leader. If you're showing your leader your work, or if you have a one-on-one with your leader, I would mention that you are taking the opportunity to learn and you're making sure your leader knows that you are actively learning. If you have a learning center at work, go out there and see if there's any skills that you can pick up, any applications you can know more about. You'll want to become as much of a SME or subject matter expert as you possibly can, especially about what you do. And if you can pick up a couple other things that you are the go-to person for, that's how you'll want to do it. If you can, offer to help. See experiences as learning opportunities to just soak up anything you can glean from it. If you see someone else's report and you like visually that their data is laid out well, that it tells the story, take one of your old reports or take some of your old data and try to roll it up to a summary that looks something like that if it tells the story. If your leader, these are the priceless nuggets that I get from my leader. When I send him data and he sends me, say, a chart back, I replicate that chart in my report. I know that he obviously can do it, but I'll go ahead and replicate it and add it to my report. And as I refresh my data, I continue to refresh that chart. And it's a way I feel for him to know, I see what you can do, but then I'm also showing you what I can do. And just a couple more things. A university local to me within the last couple years has been putting on a data analytics boot camp. It was something I was really interested in. I started looking into it. I actually got accepted into the boot camp, but then they dropped the price tag. It was $10K and they didn't offer scholarships and my job didn't have tuition reimbursement for it. So I had to put that on the back burner. But even if you can't afford a $10,000 course, maybe just go pick up some extra books. Some of the applications they talked about during that process kind of stuck with me and I started learning more about them. You can go out on Amazon and get books to learn. You can go to Skillsoft. I've signed up to be a tester for new application rollouts. So I just gather information, implement it in my work, and attempt to be the best at doing what I'm responsible for as possible. And so thank you, Keisha. Sorry. And last but not least, we got one from Karen. All right, if you had to do it again, what would you do differently? Add to or take away from your budget? What things have you now realized you really can do without? Did you make adjustments monthly? I'm going to say that's what that is. I have so many. Okay. Of course, I mean, who doesn't want to get done faster? So if there was a way I could have gotten done faster, that would have been great. And I guess that means there were times I could have been a little more intense. But I am so proud of my journey. I can't really think of very much I would do differently. I feel like I found balance and I was evaluating my journey like every day. It felt like, not just making adjustments monthly. Every week, I felt like I was looking at things and saying, okay, like I said, every day, whenever I would look at transactions and, payments coming out and things like that, I feel like I was really in it, however much was needed. And it made all the world a difference. So no, I can't think of very much I would do differently. I knew that there was a need to make sacrifices, but I also knew that tomorrow wasn't promised. And so I would balance that to say, definitely, like there are some things that are not needed right now. Those are things that you want. You can get your wants later, but then there are some wants that you don't particularly need, but that you're probably going to be proud that you did. And like I said at the beginning, I remember early on in my journey, I made a list of all of my financial responsibilities, but I would put like my must-haves in my first category, and that was the mortgage, car, utilities. The second group was nice to have. Oh, it'd be nice to keep up with this, the security system. It'd be nice to have this. It'd be nice. And then I had a third list that was you don't need, you want it, but it's lower than that nice to have. And I started there and started crossing things off that list. And I said, I need more room in my budget. I haven't had cable TV in maybe like 6 years. And within the last couple years got Netflix, and I'm even thinking about giving that a break. Now my food budget was a little come see, come sa. Sometimes I was a little extra with my food budget. So I really had to watch that one. At times I actually did make up a pot of beans and rice to snap myself back into reality. But yeah, my food budget, that was one that I probably could have been a little more lean on for sure. I think the adjustments is what makes your budget real. It's what brings it alive. It's that it is so based on what you are right now. It's not something that you make and you put away and you check in on it. You make sure that it's alive and in a sense breathes with your everyday, and it makes sense for every part of your everyday. And so yeah, the budget is super important. Adding to, making adjustments, removing things that are not necessary. All of that is super duper important. All right, so that is it for the Q&A. I know I talked a lot because I can talk a lot, and you know I love engaging with you. So thank you for your questions. If I didn't get to you, make sure you check out the next video because I am going to answer all the questions I receive in one way or the other. If something happens and I have to just answer them in a post or something like that, I'll do that. But I'm planning on making another video to address the other 10 questions. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, my question from you is the question that Wendy posed to me. During your journey, what was your biggest pro and con? If you are in your debt-free journey or your wealth building journey and you have yet to finish, or even if you have already finished and you are debt-free, what is your biggest pro and your biggest con? Make sure you leave that in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.